Well, it's always fun to see people who are as excited about this as you were when you were that age. I still find it a joy to go to work, and I'm lucky in that regard. But I'm the same person that I was when I first showed up at a radio station in Peru, Indiana, sitting in the back hoping someday I'd be able to turn the key, open the mic, and say something for pay. And the pay at that time was $1.25 an hour. That was minimum wage. And I got my wish. And so I only hope that the people that attended this get their wish to someday do in communications what they'd like to do.
And how has the industry really changed the time since you graduated college until right now when college graduates are trying to get a job in the industry?
Well, it won't make them feel necessarily great, but there is more opportunity than there was 50 years ago. There's a lot more opportunity. There are more media outlets. There are more opportunities to write on websites. Before, if you wanted to write, you had to go to a conventional newspaper that actually published something you held in your hand. But now Sports Illustrated finds that they have more subscribers to their web, Sports Illustrated, than they do to buy it on the newsstand. That's the change that we've had. In broadcasting, there's so many more media types, let alone stations that are conventional and cable channels that are conventional. There's so many more ways to be involved in media. I realize population has grown in 50 years, but the opportunities are still there. A lot of time, it just takes time and patience and hanging in there before the opportunity comes. If you wait to be discovered, it won't happen. You have to make those things happen yourself. How do you do that? Through making contacts, through volunteering. Anytime that there's something that's around media that you can volunteer for, it's the cheapest kind of experience that you'll ever get. You won't make anything doing it, but you'll have experience. And when you lose your hair and you get gray, you can hand out advice like that, that experience is really important. I know, because I heard it from old gray people when I was young too, but it turned out to be right. It's a cliche, but cliches mean something because they're usually accurate. Overused, but accurate.
And what are like some of the tools that you use when you guys were in the lower market, now you're in the big time stage that you use every day that helps you with everyday activities?
Working, work ethic and a discipline to just stay with work. It almost becomes a tunnel life for a while, in that you can very easily become so enamored with this kind of work that you don't know anything else. And as time passes, I think I might have been one of those people. As time passes, you realize there's an awful lot more to life than that. But again, this is something that each generation has to learn as it comes through itself, and it took me a lot of time to learn it. I think having cancer 21 years ago helped me learn it faster, but I'm not entirely there yet. But there was a time that if it took working 14 straight days, fine, that's what I do. I probably progressed faster because of that, but the other side of it was I missed a few things along the way.
And Mike, what's your greatest appreciation of the game of hockey that you enjoy most?
Well, it's an unnatural extension of the arm, a stick, and two unnatural extensions of the feet, skates. And you have to learn how to skate before you can even play the sport. Whereas with baseball and football and basketball, we learn to walk before we're 1 year old. We learn to run shortly after that. And so that is something that's just assumed you can do when you go to take up a sport. But skating is something that, you know, it probably was under-taught 50 years ago, but now almost anybody that's in this league has to be able to skate. I remember sitting with Bill Barber, who's the Hall of Famer and played left wing for the Flyers and led the league in scoring several years in goals. And Bill was watching a game that was shot in the mid-70s that his team was playing against the New York Rangers. And it was played at the Spectrum in Philadelphia and at the same camera angles as we were using at the time I'm watching him do this. This is probably 10 years ago. And I said, Bill, the game looks slow. And he said, in my day, the guy who could skate stood out. Now it's the guy who can't.
And Mike, who's your biggest role model as a child growing up, and now does that still live as the same one today?
Yeah, he's still living and he's still working. He is 86 years old. He broadcast the Fort Wayne Comet games. He has done one NHL game in his life, and it was at what it was later called Mellon Arena in Pittsburgh. He was a friend of a Pittsburgh Penguins coach named Mark Boylan. His name is Bob Chase. He's 86. He's done the Fort Wayne Comets for 59 years. I heard him just 2 nights ago doing a game on 1190, 50,000 watts, WOWO. Mark was his friend, and Mark arranged for him to get the chance to do one NHL game of the Penguins when Mark coached here on KDKA. And Bob never forgot that, because that was the only NHL game he's ever done. The rest of the time, it's been wherever the Comets were playing and whatever league they were in, and he's still doing it to this day. Gives us all hope